did you really mail a dead gopher to an editor? And question the second was, do you still get calls from the dating game? Yes and no and no. Oh, you want more? Oh, I see. Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, see, it is not that I am into revenge. I promise you this is the truth. I am, honest to God, the best analogy is I am a snake on a rock. Don't fuck with me, I won't bite you. Fuck with me, you're gonna walk around with me hanging from your neck for the rest of your natural life. And unfortunately, from time to time, you meet people in this life like college administrators. And publishers, not editors so much as publishers. Movie executives are, network executives, TV network executives are the prime examples. They are that wonderful, ineffable combination of arrogant stupidity. Arrogance, you can beat, because you can appeal to their envy, their ego, there's some way to weasel and work them. Stupidity you can deal with because you can outsmart them, or you can go around them, or burrow under them, or climb on top of them. But arrogant stupidity, you cannot do anything with. It is immobile. My contracts say that they may not bind into any of my books cigarette ads, or liquor ads, or, you know, the only one I permit are like book ads of a certain kind. As long as they don't call my book science fiction, I don't give a shit what they do, as long as they don't bind in crummy ads. And for a long time, they were binding in all kinds of stupid ads for luggage and cigarette. You know, when you bought a paperback, you found one of those silly things in the middle. My contract says you can't do that. If you do it, you lose the book immediately. Rights revert. So New American Library, Signet Books, reissued. Oh, I forgot to do this. I was going to draw your attention. This is the way I draw your attention. I may do that later. Ooh, that's terrific. I like toys. They reissued one of my books, and it was hip deep in cigarette ads. So I called them up and gave them hell. They said, well, there's nothing we can do about it. They can always fuck you over. That's easy, but nothing can be done about it. Nothing can be done about it. No, I'm sorry, you're gonna go down, flame and burn and die, and that's it. Nothing can be done about it. Wrong and wrong. You will do something about it, or I will do something about it. Either you recall all the books and tear them out by hand, you know, send the president of Signet home one night with about 12,000 of these books, let him tear them out by hand, he's not doing anything over the weekend. Or you've lost the book, and that's it. Well, they wouldn't take out the ad, so I said, that's it, the book reverts. They said, no, it hasn't, no, it hasn't. I said, oh, the book has reverted. I promise you the book has reverted. Trust me, it has reverted. Well, they started giving me a hard time. So I went all the legal routes. I went to the attorney, to the agent, all of those people, and they said, there's nothing we can do, there's nothing we can do. It would cost a fortune to sue them. I said, I'm not going to sue them. I'm going to make their life a living hell. I promise you, when I get done with the sons of bitches, they will gladly revert the rights to the book. They will beg me to take the rights back. Thereupon began a program of terror that the PLO would have admired. Now, the important thing to know when you're going to go for revenge is don't mess with the schleppers on the lower levels. They're just the good Germans. They just load them onto the trains. They don't know from the furnaces. I don't know what they're doing. Could be roasting chickens. I don't know, right? You go to the people at the top. You go for them. Now, you got to figure out which one. So I figured out that the guy to really go after at New American Library, the person was not my editor, poor Olga Vizeris, who didn't know what was happening and hated the whole thing. Not the senior editor. No, go for the comptroller of the company. That's the one. See, he's up there with the bucks, and he doesn't have to touch the dirt. He doesn't have to know about the little piddling crap. Man's name was Ezra Eisen. I found this out. We have ways. I wrote to Ezra Eisen personally and said, here's the situation. Would you care to be a mensch and take care of this at once? No answer. Arrogant stupidity. I'm a reasonable person. I send him a telegram. Please respond to my letter of the 13th. Most anxiously awaiting your reply. Politely yours, Harlan Ellison. No answer. Okay, says I. Stage 1. I began mailing him bricks. Now, this was a number of years ago when the post office delivered everything. You wrap it. You didn't even have to, remember when you were sending back your bills without any stamps on them? Now you can't do that. They just throw the stuff away. So they got around that. But in those days, which is not all that long, it was about five, 6 years ago, you could mail anything and it had to be delivered. I mailed him 213 bricks, each one very neatly wrapped in brown butcher's paper and addressed personally to Ezra Eisen. Personal, deliver by hand, important, hand stamp, do not crush, fragile. No return address. At the end of the third week, I sent a very small note on Donny Osmond's stationery. God knows where I had gotten Donny Osmond's stationery, but I had some Donny Osmond stationery, and it said, "Would you like to release my book, or do you want me to mail you the rest of the shithouse?" Now I get a call from Olga Vizeras saying, "What are you doing to Ezra Eisen?" Moi? What am I doing to Ezra Eisen? I have not made the gentleman's acquaintance. What do you think I'm doing? You're mailing him bricks. She said, "Well, he's not going to do it." Well, hey, phase 2. Phase two was I know a lot of people. I know a lot of strange people. I love strange people. And one of them is a hitman. Unfortunately, he's not an Italian hitman. He's a Lithuanian. He's a wonderful guy, but he's one of the world's most inept muscle men. He shot off his own big toe one time. He walks with a strange limp like this, you know? And his name is Sandor. So I called Sandor, and I said, "If I can get you a picture of Ezra Eisen, will you throw a scare into him for me?" He says, "Sure, what I will do is that." This is the way Sandor talks. Sandor lives in the Bronx. Sandor is the kind of person who can walk through the Bronx, any part of the Bronx, at any hour of the day or night, and nobody fucks with Sandor. So I found a picture of Ezra Eisen in an issue of Publishers Weekly, and it was a good photo. And I said, I gave him the number of the building and so on, so on, so on. And I said, just see what you can find out about his family, and and just throw a little scare into him. Well, Sandor later calls me and he tells me what. Get this, it's the dead heat of summer. Sandor's wearing a huge overcoat. He is very strange. He is very strange. Let me tell you what, Sandor kind of. Picture in your mind, if you will, a 6'3", very pale, pockmarked penguin. Okay, you got that? You got that fixed? Wearing a big, heavy overcoat in the middle of summer. Now picture yourself coming out of the Signet publishing company, the New American Library offices, at the end of a day with your Cabretta grain attaché case, and suddenly this apparition is walking along beside you with his arm like this around you so you cannot get away, and he says, "Your son's name is Michael, your daughter's name is Stephanie, she goes to the Cadwallader School in Long Island, and if you come home and find her forehead nailed to the living room wall, you will know that you should let Harlan Ellison have his book back." And he vanishes. He's gone, right? Now, I get a call from Olga Vizeras. "What are you doing to Ezra Eisen? This is an old man. He has a heart condition. He's got a heart condition. He's got a heart condition." So I wrote him a letter. I said, "I've been advised you have a heart condition. I'm terribly sorry. My mother just died," which is absolutely true. My mother just died of a heart condition. It was really a terrible thing to watch, and I described my mother's death to him in considerable detail. Still, he would not relent. Gotta give it to him. Gotta give it to him. The old fucker really hung on there. So I went to phase 4. 3 was the letter about the heart attack. That's pretty grisly, you got to admit. Phase 4, I live in a very beautiful area. It's all watershed land behind me, about 90 acres of beautiful watershed land. Unfortunately, the perils of that is that you get gophers. I don't like gophers. I like all kind of animals. I like soft, furry little animals. I like big, mean animals. I don't like gophers. You know what gophers look like? They look like... They're creeps. They're real creeps. An entire tree you could lose. You know, it just vanishes into the ground like a Warner Brothers cartoon one day. So, I get crazy. You can't imagine. I really am not a violent type in that way. I'm sitting out on a goddamn lawn with a .22 waiting, and, you know, at 6 in the morning. They'd come up at 6 in the morning and at 5 o'clock at night. And they would come up and they would eat everything in sight. You know, it was like the Marabunta army. That's his house. Let's get his house, you know. So I'm sitting out on the goddamn lawn like a lunatic. My girlfriend comes out and she says, what the fuck are you doing there with a guy? I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. She said, Jesus, this is not a Sam Peckinpah movie. Put down the goddamn gun. It's a gopher. Anyhow, one of them stuck his head up, and I blew it. I hit him right between the eyes. Regretted it instantly. I went over, and he's lying in the hole like this. Really ugly, ugh, terrible. And he's got this bullet hole between the eyes. You know, I blew off the back of his head. It's really ghastly. And the hole is filled with brains. And it's just, and I'm going, I was the kind of kid, you know, other kids used to spin cats, you know, and set fire to them and crush ants. You did it, I know, you're the kind of fucker. Yeah, you. One of the dearest women I know, a very fine and gentle woman, told me about her childhood in Mississippi. She used to take baby chicks and bury them up to the neck in the ground and run a lawnmower over them. Now you go, ooh, and I go, ooh, but I know that most of you out there have done that kind of thing. I was the exception. I never was mean to an animal, never. I would step around an ant, a moth in the house, I would take it and put it out. I still do to this day. So there I am looking at this assassination. Christ, I couldn't fucking live with myself for weeks. If I'd been Catholic, I'd have gone and done penance. Ugh, it was terrible. Thank God I'm Jewish and I'm only entitled to 3,000 years retroactive persecution. So it chanced that this happened right around the time that I've got Ezra Eisen's situation, and I've got to escalate to phase 4, and it's got to be a real number. Naturellement, I put little dead gopher, scoop up all the little brains, in a little box, along with Theodore R. Cogswell. You know Theodore Cogswell, Ted Cogswell, the science fiction writer? Theodore R. Cogswell's famous recipe for boiled gopher stew. And I mail it off to Ezra Eisen, 4th class mail. I am told that by the time it hit the Chicago shunting station, it was high. Ripo. We are talking here Mondo Puco. I get a call from Olga Vizeris that is so inarticulate, so crazed, she can't even speak. Wah, 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 wah. We had to have the mailroom fumigated. Wah. They didn't even need to deliver it to Eisen. The minute it came, postmen wouldn't go near it, man. They brought it in and fired it through a window at them, you know? And the goddamn thing, she said, Ezra Eisen went in for open heart surgery this morning. I said, I hope he lives. She says, why, so you can torment him? I said, no, he's got to have the strength to release my book. She says, don't you ever give up. I said, that's the message. Ezra Eisen had a coronary bypass, came out of the hospital, released my book to me. So the answer is yes, but not to an editor, to the comptroller. So yes and no. The answer to, do I still get calls from the dating game? No, of course not. It's off the air.